I was halfway through my Sunday morning coffee, sitting on the porch in my pajama pants, enjoying the one quiet hour the neighborhood usually offered before the leaf blowers and power washers kicked in, when I got the strangest notification. My Tesla was moving. Not parked. Not idle. Moving. Now, here's the thing: the key card was sitting on the kitchen counter, and I was very much not in the car. I figured it was some glitch. Maybe a software update nudged the sensors or something. But then I opened the app and saw the live GPS feed. My car was slowly cruising down Magnolia Avenue like it had errands to run. That's when it hit me. Somebody had stolen my car. And not just somebody. No, it was Cheryl. Cheryl Hastings, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, self-declared enforcer of all things beige and symmetrical. I knew it was her the second I pulled up the car's interior cam and saw those oversized sunglasses, the neon windbreaker, and that unmistakable look of self-importance, the same one she wore while threatening to fine retirees for having the wrong color lawn gnomes. 2 days earlier, she'd stopped by, clipboard in hand, to remind me that my car, a bright blue Tesla, violated community visual continuity guidelines. According to Cheryl, electric vehicles in non-neutral tones disrupted the aesthetic. I laughed it off, like I usually did. Big mistake. Because Cheryl, as it turned out, wasn't content with passive-aggressive notes and baseless citations anymore. Nope. She went full-on rogue, HOA warlord. She broke into my junction box, the one stupidly mounted near the community bulletin board. She updated, religiously cut the feed to my security cameras, and swiped the Tesla like it was a communal golf cart. Only, this wasn't a golf cart. It was a $60,000 vehicle with embedded mics, 360-degree cameras, and full law enforcement sync. So I flagged it in the app. Didn't even dial 911. I called Sheriff Travis Dane. We'd met at a community fundraiser for the local fire department a few months back. I helped his daughter with her science project on EV infrastructure. When I told him what happened, he paused for maybe 5 seconds, then burst out laughing. "Let me guess," he said. "Cheryl?" Everyone knew Cheryl. From the time she tried to find the volunteer EMT for parking on the grass during a medical emergency, to the time she demanded toddlers wear matching swimsuits at the community pool. Cheryl had rules for everything, and absolutely no sense of proportion. 10 minutes later, I was at the sheriff's office, phone in hand, Tesla footage playing live. Travis plugged it into the big monitor. We watched as Cheryl pulled into a Shell gas station, ironic, since it was an electric car, and stepped out, trying to make a phone call. The cabin mic picked up everything. She told someone on the other end she had finally reclaimed the Tesla and would be meeting them at a downtown storage unit. She called it an HOA vehicle reassignment. Travis dispatched 2 unmarked cruisers and pulled up her history of complaints. 6 separate grievances filed against my Tesla. 2 had mysteriously disappeared from HOA records. Now it made sense. We watched in disbelief as Cheryl arrived at a rundown storage complex and opened one of the units. She cleared space, popped a cardboard sign in the windshield that read, "For sale, cash only," and propped it up like she was setting up a yard sale. And then this part I'll never forget: she pulled out a roll of masking tape and tried to cover the Tesla logo, like renaming it Eco Sedan was going to hide the felony she was neck-deep in. She even started filming herself next to the car, using some fake Instagram handle, calling it her latest community asset acquisition. I couldn't believe it. That's when we played our first card. Travis handed me the app, and I hit lock. The car sealed. Lights flashed. Cheryl jumped back like it had growled at her. Then came the voice. Through the cabin speakers. "This vehicle is being tracked by law enforcement. Please step away, Cheryl." She froze, looked around, and for the first time since I moved into that neighborhood, she looked scared, really scared. You could see the wheels turning in her head, trying to come up with some legalese that would excuse grand theft auto. But the moment was already lost. She made a call, pacing like a cornered cat, claimed the car had been abandoned, and that she, as HOA president, had the right to reclaim depreciating assets. She wasn't just lying, she believed her lie. That was the scariest part. Then she made it worse. She popped the trunk and started loading her own junk into it: an old lamp, fake plants, a broken heater. She was staging the scene, trying to make it look like the car was hers, like she'd owned it all along. That was our cue. Travis sent 2 plainclothes deputies into the lot posing as Craigslist buyers. Cheryl lit up like she was closing a deal. introduced herself as Community Asset Liaison, and handed over a forged document printed on the back of a Willow Creek newsletter. It wasn't even a proper bill of sale, more like a raffle entry filled out in pencil. When the deputies asked why the car was locked, she said, and I quote, "It's voice activated. Only responds to me." I tapped a button. The car honked, then played a message in my voice. "Hi, Cheryl. You're being recorded, and your buyers are undercover deputies." Her jaw dropped. She turned to run, realized she was boxed in, then raised her hands in the air while shouting something about neighborhood sovereignty. I showed up just as they cuffed her. She was still yelling about bylaws and municipal rights like that was going to undo everything. I waved through the Tesla window. She glared at me like I was the villain. But honestly, it was hard to take her seriously with a neon HOA folder flapping in the wind and a busted lamp sticking out of the trunk. Travis read her the charges: grand theft auto, attempted fraud, tampering with private property. Her face went pale when he told her the car had recorded everything. Every tap, every word, every delusion. She was released on bail the next day, but the damage was done. Footage leaked. Memes exploded. Someone dropped off Tesla-shaped cookies at my doorstep with captions like, "Not yours," and "Electric Justice." For the first time, the neighborhood wasn't divided. People were laughing, talking, united by the downfall of the clipboard tyrant. And then came the backlash. Cheryl sent a cease and desist, claimed the footage was defamatory, said the car's voice caused emotional trauma, even tried to sue Tesla for psychological manipulation through machine language. Travis just laughed, said the DA's office had already picked up the case. The HOA board, scrambling to cover their own backs, launched an internal audit. Turns out Cheryl had been misusing funds for years: phony consulting invoices, fake tech upgrades, payments to a compliance vendor that turned out to be her own PayPal account. A special town meeting was called. Wall-to-wall people showed up. Someone projected the Tesla footage on a screen. Cheryl walked in late, sunglasses on indoors, trying to read a statement blaming everyone but herself. Halfway through, someone in the crowd played a recording of her yelling at the Tesla to shut up, "You overhyped golf cart." The crowd lost it. A neighbor named Joel stood up and listed every fine she'd ever issued for things like wind chimes, seasonal flags, and non-uniform patio furniture. When he finished, someone shouted, "Vote to remove her." Hands went up. Cheryl was voted out right there. Her last ally on the board quietly slipped out the back. News stations ran the story. Headlines read, "HOA president steals Tesla, cites community rights." She moved out a week later. No farewell. Just a quiet moving truck and a folding chair in the driveway, where she sat alone while the last boxes disappeared. I watched from across the street. Not with triumph. Just relief. The Tesla got a new paint job. Matte black, red pinstripe, one word stenciled on the back bumper: resolve. That car didn't just get stolen. It became a symbol of what happens when people finally say, enough. Later that month, we held a neighborhood block party. No citations. No clipboard. Just music, food, and laughter. A guy named Marcus introduced a new smart monitoring system designed for residents, not over them. Motion lights, tamper-proof boards, shared alerts. We called it the Cheryl Protocol. Not out of spite, out of memory. Because sometimes it takes a theft to give a neighborhood back its soul. Sometimes justice doesn't wear a badge. Sometimes it has cameras, sensors, and a pre-recorded voice that says, "You messed with the wrong driveway." So what do you think? Was Cheryl delusional or dangerous? Would you have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I know this one's going to stir some feelings. And if you've ever had a power-hungry HOA story of your own, we're all ears. And hey, maybe check your driveway, just in case someone thinks your car isn't neutral enough.